Camp Jacklock, just outside of Merbu North in Gippsland, was, I think, from about the 70s. It was a camp. I'm still looking for more information on that. There's actually not a lot of information online about Camp Jacklock. And I have asked a few relatives. They're sort of looking into it. It was purchased by Mark McDonald in 2004. His wife was managing what was a boys' home in Boys' Home Road, New Haven. I think it was St. John's or St. Paul's, one of them. Yeah, so they had the experience of running a school camp. So yeah, he purchased Camp Jacklock. Then on January 28th in 2009, the Dalburn fire went through the area and caused some damage to the property. I'm not sure the difference between the Churchill fires and the Dalburn fires, or whether they became one or whatever, but the guy that was blamed for lighting part of the Churchill fires, Brendan Suckerlock, he actually used to go to school with my sister-in-law. So yeah, just sort of chuck that tidbit in. After the fires, the property sort of sat disused, and Mark McDonald tried to get compensation for the money he lost. I'll just chuck some notes up here that you can pause if you want to read more on it. This is like a, 60 or something page document. I'm sure it says it there. You can probably Google it and upload it yourself. Really hard to find information on this place. But luckily, I know a few stories to tell you. The place sat abandoned for years. I used to drive past it every time we go down to our beach house, and I just saw these. Mainly I could just see shipping containers and some buildings sort of sticking over the top of them as I'd go past on the Strzelecki Highway just before you got to Merbu North. Then, one day I thought, I'm going to have a look in here. And I was with my dog at the time, Death Ray Eyes, the train dog, aka Chloe. No longer with us, of course. I reckon that was, from my notes, June 13, 2009, that I went in with Death Ray Eyes and took a few photos, as you can see here. She loved a good explore. Everyone loved these helmets. I call them Lego helmets, but as you can see, even Death Ray Eyes liked her Lego helmet. Yeah, I used to be a champion basketball player, as you can see here, me doing a bit of a slam dunk. Oh, fanar. I was also pretty good at tickling the ivories, as was Death Ray Eyes. This one's a bit weird because this hat was years before I became the world's greatest dad, so weird. And I just made a dad joke. Finally, I planned a Cave Clan Expo to this location on December the 12th, also 2009. On this expo, the reason we're sort of all dressed up is I was going to shoot a video, but I think Ed was going to shoot it with me. We couldn't do it, so we were dressed up. It was going to be Camp Crystal, like a Jason Friday 13th type thing. So that's why we're dressed up the way we are, and that's why I look like a sociopath. One good thing that came, well, I shouldn't say it's a good thing, but there was a guy called Fractal, and he was a nut job in the Cave Clan. He'd come along to this, and he's just caused so many problems and threatened so many people. He used to write Stabby next to your name on the wall in drains if he didn't like you, meaning he wants to stab you. He sort of did some weird stalking things, like where people would be sitting at Hungry Jack's and they'd look across the road and he'd be just standing there staring at them. Kind of a bit more like Michael Myers than Jason Voorhees. But anyway, in the first photo from this expo where we're all out on the veranda of what was the office, on the desk was some paperwork. Now the place is abandoned. It's been trashed. Parts of it are flooded, or it wasn't locked or anything like that. Animals had been in, and as you can see in the photos. But sitting on the desk were some letters, and Fractal started reading them, and the letters turned out being complaints to the manager about a camp instructor who had been molesting a child. Fractal, who was crazy, batshit crazy, but this is the one thing he's ever done that I was like, oh yeah, not too shabby, was he got all the personal letters and ripped them up. They also had the staff member who'd been accused, and it was quite detailed, and I even get the feeling he'd done it 2 or 3 times. There was a few complaints about it, and then Fractal just got this bit of paper and folded up and put it in his top pocket, and we were like, what are you doing with that? And he goes, oh, I'm just going to make sure this asshole doesn't forget what he's done. Now, look, nothing probably happened. He probably never followed it up, and the guys hopefully would have went to jail or something already, but I'm not condoning violence or anything like that. I think because of the legal issues that were going on, Mark McDonald was waiting to see if he got any money before he decided what he was going to do with the rest of the place. But, it had cabin accommodation for 150 students and teacher accommodation in 1 or 2 bedroom flats. The last group to use Jack Lock before the fires was a Melbourne church group. During the expo, Prowler started getting sick. He got fever, sweating, the shakes, the whole thing. So he went and hopped in one of the bunks, and we just kept on exploring. And eventually, a car rocks up, and this guy gets out with a dog, and the dog's barking, and he's pulling the dog. It's up on its hind legs, and he's, what are you doing? You're smashing the place, you're stealing shit. And he had his wife with him, and she's like, calm down, Trevor, they're just having a look. Which is what we were saying, we're just having a look. And the kid was about 10. He just looked like cool people to talk to. Keep in mind, I'm 6'4.5", not skinny, wearing a hockey mask, carrying a knife, wearing a pink dressing gown. I'd have a fucking dog growling at me too. Anyway, he calms down. The kid goes for a walk with Dirge, the only female explorer with us. Within minutes, he's talking about chuffing on the caretaker. I think I called him a security guard, but he's a caretaker. And he's talking about chuffing and how he comes over and smokes bongs. And his son, at the same time, we find out later, is telling Dirge, oh, Dad smashed those windows. Dad did that. Dad smashed that. Dad smashed those car windscreens. There's a few old cars there. So it turns out he's the one trashing the whole place anyway. He told us, you don't go in the cabin 9. That's haunted. Yeah, we told him about how we were going to shoot a movie there, and he's like, I'll bring my guns down. You can use my guns. So when they first rocked up, I was like, we need to get out of here. But we forgot about Prowler, and we didn't know which cabin he was in. So everyone just starts walking around calling out, Prowler! Prowler! And I was like, oh, Jesus, just call him by his real name. It was bad enough that we were wearing hockey masks, carrying knives, dressed as nut jobs, and we were walking around screaming out for this, Prowler! But anyway, in the end, it all turned out well, and Prowler ended up making it home. I offered for him to stay at my place, but he wanted to get home, and he got home all right, and he just said, something like jumped into bed and slept in a pile of sweat for 15 hours. One spooky thing, the second time I did it, on my own, no Lottie or anything, and it was raining, there was just water dripping everywhere, and it was sort of eerie. I had that feeling, sometimes you get that feeling like someone's watching you or someone's there. And yeah, I don't often get that feeling, but I sort of got this feeling like, I need to leave. Yeah, and then I saw, you can see in these photos, I saw footprints, and I saw a knife, and I saw the graffiti saying something like, I'm watching you, or I can see you. And I told heaps of people about this story, and it was sort of freaking people out a bit. But when I went back, it was the kitchen, it was just footprints in grease, and none of it was fresh. I was just being a paranoid nerd. So thanks to Marcus Wong on Flickr, who I don't know personally, but as soon as I asked, he was like, yep, no worries. Thanks to Red. That's about it. So I might do a few of these. They're pretty easy to make. I'd only do it with locations that are long gone and aren't recorded anywhere else. I'm going to do the Sale Jail and the Sale Police Station next. I'll just be doing them in between drain walk videos when I don't get around to filming one. So thanks for watching. Hope it turned out all right. All right, cheers. Speak to you soon.